It must be Calvin basketball week on the D3 Datacast because we're following up Monday's episode in our chat with head men's basketball coach Bill Sall with a special midweek episode as we follow up with a chat with Calvin women's basketball head coach Mark Christner.
Yeah, thanks so much to Coach Christner for tolerating us and sharing with us a little bit about his team and the expectations they have for 2025 and 2026. So really excited for the things the Calvin women's basketball program has in store for us, Zach. So let's go ahead and listen to what Mark has to say.
We're excited to make this a Calvin basketball double feature this week on the D3 Datacast as we're pleased to welcome into the D3 Datacast Big Box Mark Christner. He's the head women's basketball coach at Calvin, entering his seventh season with a combined 98-49 record. Mark, good evening. It's great to welcome you in. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, both Zach and Matt. Thank you for having me. It's very cool to be sitting in the big box.
That's right. That's right. Oh, well, we kicked out Bill earlier in the week to bring you in. Glad to have you here. Mark, let's just start. I think it's fair to say that you are a Calvin basketball guy. You're a Calvin graduate, spent 3 years, I believe, and as a member of the Calvin men's basketball program. Uh, you've been an assistant for the women's basketball program. We'll go through this a little bit more, but you've been an assistant for the men's basketball program. You departed as the head coach for the men's program at Waynesburg, now back at Calvin, leading the women's basketball program. Mark, let's go back though to your time as an assistant under Kevin Vandestreek
Mhm.
for the Calvin men's basketball program. You know, a lot of the times when we give our background, it was so formative during our years at Calvin to follow the 2005 Final Four team, and that really gave us an appreciation for the national landscape of Division III basketball. Just wondering, as a member of that staff, being so close around that team, what were your lasting memories from that Final Four run?
Guys, really was a team in every sense of the word. We had a awesome player in Dan Altman who came to us
Yeah.
via, Muskegon Community College, and but he was the guy who would give Coach Vanderstreek a hug almost every day in practice, and try to snake off some of the tough veneer that Coach had sometimes. And what was interesting about that team was that it was also made up of some juniors that I had the privilege of coaching on the JV team
Okay.
as freshmen. So Kyle Truella,
Yep.
um, Brad Sall was a year older than those guys, but he put Andy Dreyer. We had a JV team that year, and I could list the names. I think they went undefeated in the league, and they were a pretty easy group to coach, obviously, providing to be a core of a Final Four team. But I think the group really gelled as the year went on, and you guys maybe remember. Joel Hoekstra
Yeah.
turned into
Yeah.
was an awesome player down the stretch. Ricky Schultz was such a great competitor, and Josh Friesman. We had guys that really played their role exceedingly well, and got to see it all come together. I don't think we'll forget the Josh Mecca / Kirby Joseph game sealing interception, so to speak, at Wheaton in the first round of the tournament. It just was a really fun group to be around, and I think as a younger coach, really, you hear about, hey, you want to be playing your best at the end of the year and all those types of things, but that was a group that really did that, and they. We came to practice every day. We had gotten beat in the league by Albion that year, who was awesome. They were really good. And we had to kind of go through it the hard way. And the guys did it. So really fun group, great memories. Bummer that it came up short in the, in the semifinal. I do remember seeing Jack Bennett later that spring at a coach's clinic, and he kind of looked at me and he goes, "Man, I thought we were going to play you guys in the final." And I think we felt the same way. It kind of felt like it was a group that had a lot of mojo going our way, and but not to be. And we had to go play in the consolation game, which they don't do anymore. But fortunately, we won that, so we got to
Yep.
win our
Yep.
last game of the
Yeah.
year. So that was cool.
That was certainly a fun team to follow, and a team that could have, could have had their run end before even making it to the NCAA tournament if they hadn't
For
lost
sure.
won that tough game at Albion, and that Wheaton game was like a one possession kind of tip in kind of a game. So a crazy good run, as Zach said, very formative for both of us. I want to turn back the clock even a little bit further than that. As Zach kind of mentioned, you've served in so many different coaching roles in Division III. I want to talk about your very first coaching gig, which was an assistant with the women's basketball program at Calvin, I believe. And did you have maybe JV responsibilities as well? But talk about, as kind of like a fresh-faced kid, probably getting your first role in coaching at the Division III level. Then,
It was really interesting, guys. So Coach Affman, who was the women's coach at Calvin in the kind of the mid '90s, had fantastic teams. They really, in fact, Jeff Phoebus told me at the end of last year, he thought, in fact, maybe it was in one of the post games, he thought that our team last year reminded him of a Greg Affman team, kind of really good defensively and kind of figured it out on as he went along, but had good talent. But he left to go to Westmont College like late. I feel like it was like in the spring, and so Calvin hired Kim Gall, who was a department member at the time, and she needed an assistant or two. And so I had just finished my undergraduate work, and she asked me to help her. And I said, that would be great, because I kind of thought that I would teach and coach, throughout my time. And so I got into the college ranks pretty quickly, a lot quicker than I thought. Our senior group that year, so it was 99 or 2000, was Jill Cruz, Lauren Louders, Mindy Andringer, Robin Fenema. They were just a year younger than I was. And so, yeah, that was pretty enjoyable. It was fun to coach. It was a fun team. We got better as the year went on. We made the Sweet 16 that year. The guys won the national championship, which was tremendous. And I lived with Aaron and Nate Karsten, the captains of that team. So I got it from all sides. And it was just, again, a real formative experience. Coach Gall gave me a lot of responsibility from a scouting report standpoint, and just from an early how you try to get your best players the ball in different spots standpoint. So as a young coach, it was a great lesson. And yeah, we were fortunate to have a group of older players who could lead us and help us, because that was a group that was really seniors, and then we had freshmen. There wasn't much in the middle. But another group that kind of came along, won the conference tournament. We won a game at Capital, who at the time was a pretty big power in Division III women's basketball under Dixie Jeffers. And lost in double overtime to Baldwin Wallace in the Sweet 16 at Wash U. So, yeah, I mean, great runs, really good memories. And I'm grateful that probably got the start into college for me, at least, and just kind of hanging around. And now I think it's year maybe 27 in the Division III world. So kind of crazy.
So we talked about then you served under Kevin Vandestreek as an assistant coach for the men's program at Calvin. You were the JV coach there as well. As mentioned, what was it like? I guess working with Coach Vandestreek, working with the men's basketball program, then maybe some differences as far as like learning. Okay, this is college basketball from the women's side. This is college basketball from the men's side. What's the same? What's different about it?
Yeah. Coach is so organized. He's so detailed. He is so prepared. The level of preparedness that I've watched him do on a regular basis was really formative for me. Like, it was like, oh man. I mean, this was before, I'm going to date myself, but I kind of vaguely remember the Calvin FedEx number for a long time, when you had to FedEx VHS tapes, and then eventually DVDs. And now, thank the Lord, we have Synergy and stuff, so we don't have to deal with it. But Coach would, before even those things, he would want to see league schools in person multiple times. So we would have weeks where we'd go out to recruit, you go out to scout, you play a game. Maybe there's a random JV game thrown in there. And it was like, whoa, okay. And as a young coach, and it's like, this is what it takes. And, Coach not only was super detailed, but he was so, the relationships that he was able to build with his players, to me, to have a front row seat to that continues to inspire me every day. I mean, his genuineness, his intensity level, I'm sure, you're not going to please everybody, but he cared for guys with his heart, and you could see that. And it's really fun for me now. I have breakfast with him fairly often, and you know, to he asks good questions. He's really inquisitive about what's going on. He's had a ton of varied experiences too, right? And has a great feel for the NCAA
Yeah.
landscape generally in the
Right.
Division III world.
Right.
So, yeah, huge blessing. He's been a great friend. He's a tremendous mentor to me. Probably safe to say would not be, sitting in the big box here without his help and without his mentorship and ultimately his friendship.
So you move on from the chair, to the side of Kevin Vandestreek there to move to the first chair at Waynesburg, where you take over as head coach. Waynesburg had not won more than 8 games in any of the previous 4 seasons before you got there. You hit double-digit wins in your second year in 18 and 11, uh, all the way to a PAC championship final on the doorstep of an NCAA berth. Talk about making that jump from assistant, and one with a great mentor, but starting to have to lead your own program for the first time.
For sure. My wife Sarah and I kind of likened it to a graduate school experience that you have when you go move away a little. In southwestern Pennsylvania, Waynesburg's a pretty small school. The PAC was a pretty solid league. I think one of the attractive natures was we thought we could get competitive pretty quickly. It wasn't like the North Coast at the time with Worcester and Wittenberg fighting it
Yeah.
out. And I knew all about the MIAA and Calvin and Hope before Trine came along a little, and we felt we could get competitive pretty quickly, and it ended up to be fairly true. There is nothing that can prepare you though for making the decisions, recruiting the people, forming a team, going through the successes, the failures, the way things you think should go or should have gone and they didn't go, and how you bounce back from that. You really do have to put your money where your mouth is in a lot of ways as a young head coach. If you're going to preach about accountability and toughness, well, then you better be tough and accountable yourself and be able to look in the mirror and see where you can correct things. I was really fortunate early on at Waynesburg to be not only around some really good people, but we had some really good guys that I was able to coach early on, and guys that stuck with it, and guys that were part of a group that could see growth each year. And I still keep in touch with them. I see one of them in our league coaching at Adrian, which is
Mhm.
great. And Timmy Kaiser, who I coached, I still call him Timmy. You probably would prefer me to call him Tim now, a little more distinguished. And of course, Jacob Flegel, who's been around and is now at Messiah. So it's fun to see that those guys do their thing, and feel like I had a little bit of role in helping them love the game and love Division III. So that's pretty cool. And then there were other guys that, they're fabulous, and I still keep in touch with them. It's fun to follow as they become fathers and, go work in the workplace and kind of affect their communities in a positive way. So, yeah, the only, I don't have any regrets, but the one regret, I mean, we played at St. Vincent in the tournament final, I think in 14, and they were on spring break, and I will never forget. I will never forget. And this sounds bad as a Calvin guy, but there was so much burnt orange in the crowd. I used the term burnt because it was not Hope orange. It was Waynesburg burnt orange, but we brought a lot of people, and that was really cool. I mean, I won't ever forget that. I have a picture somewhere in our house about kind of with the starting lineup and the orange and black kind of behind. St. Vincent had a really good crowd and good following, but yeah, we were the beneficiaries of them being on break. So we brought the house. It was cool. Wish we could have finished that up, but you know, that happens, and then you keep rolling. But we had 9 really good years there, really good people, and the Lord brought us back to Calvin in kind of a unique way, and this has been awesome. It has been so much fun to coach this group and our team, and it's been fun to get back with colleagues that I'm familiar with, and yeah, man, forever faithful. It's awesome. It's so much fun.
Well, you beat us to the punch a little bit here. Wanted to ask you about Jacob Flegel. He was one of those important early players for you. And if I'm reading the bios correct. Got his coaching start as a graduate assistant
Yeah.
with you there at Waynesburg. Just thoughts about Jacob taking over that Messiah program as he's kind of going through the first preseason period here as a head coach.
We've talked a few times already. He's called me, hey, what did we call this? Or what did we do on this shell work? Or, which is so much fun. I love it. He, not only myself, but then he had some other really good. Tony Wingen at Carnegie Mellon is one of the fine gentlemen in Division III in the last, 30 years, probably. Jason Zimmerman is cream of the crop too. Like what a good dude, and his teams play so well and hard together. And so he's had really good uh, mentors outside of me too. But I think from the trying to get to the heart of the matter and to figure out, hey, what is coaching really about at this level, and how can you extract the best from a group of men, and now for me, women, but how can you do that each year, and amidst all the other things that go on, whether it's injury, whether it's someone who decides to not return, who could return. Um, it doesn't matter. How can you pour yourself into your group? And he's going to do a fantastic job because he has that part of it down. Like, um, he is all in with his guys. I mean, he's got Dane Harvey as an assistant. I mean,
Yeah.
what could go wrong there? It's going to be great. And I'm excited to see how they progress in their league, and how he progresses that program moving forward. And it's a great school with a great athletic kind of you know um, portfolio.
Yep.
So he'll do well. I'm excited to watch from afar.
So now you're back at Calvin. I think 2019, 2020, I think was that your first season back at Calvin, leading the women's basketball team. The year before you took over, I think the team finished 12-14, which it's a different rebuilding situation than maybe Waynesburg because Calvin's used to winning seasons. And this is a little bit of a sub 500 season, but I think it was the women's basketball team's first sub 500 season since 2002. So in my mind, that puts you back in a rebuilding position once again. You kind of had to do it at Waynesburg. You kind of had to do it at Calvin. I don't know if that's how you felt, but you kind of had immediate success or relatively immediate success right away, change those numbers again to the winning side of things. But just talk about taking over another program and kind of having to rebuild it again.
Yeah, it's interesting, Matt. I probably didn't look at it necessarily in the same way,
Mm-hmm.
but you're right. I mean, when you say it that way, I think the Calvin is such a special place, and I think how you operate with players and people, like it has rippling effects. We had good players. They happened to be really young. I mean,
Yeah.
Gabby was a sophomore, Stephanie Poors was a
Yeah.
sophomore. You had other sophomores that they just were young and they weren't quite sure how to do it. That first year, I had Sydney Hulamard and Kara Minderhood, who were kind of senior holdovers, and man, they were awesome. They were so fantastic. I mean, they just anything that I asked them to do, they do it. And I remember telling Sarah, my wife, when I at the end of that year, I'm like, I never left practice irritated or upset that first year. It was kind of a change from the last nine or so, or there's probably a handful of times you leave pretty annoyed. But that group really lapped up like encouragement, and then just get organized, right, and
Yeah.
play really really hard. And I think it also happened to be when I took over. I mean, Hope was awesome,
Yeah.
just on the cusp of being really good, and they've been good for a long time, I know, but like generationally really good. And Tryon is the last decade's been really good on the women's side. So you're and Albion's always been pretty solid. So you're kind of like, man, I don't know how we're going to carve out some space here a little bit. But and I think COVID didn't probably help
Yeah.
us like it did some other sports maybe at Calvin. Like I think it really impacted our group probably in a not a great way. Um, but they bounced back, and then I suppose the 2021-22 year, we got a breakthrough win against Eau Claire, and over Christmas, and yeah, things kind of have kind of trickled a little bit from there. We always wanted to go a little faster, but
Yeah.
yeah, I will have very fond memories of that group too. Like just kind of the way that they lapped up encouragement, the way they played. I mean, Leah Harris and Sydney Cleary were freshmen on that team. Um, Sarah Neely, another one. I mean, yeah, good names for Calvin women's basketball fans to remember over the next 10 to 15 years, because they were kind of the part of some of this that really got it started in good
Yeah.
ways. Not to mention the Gabbies and the
Right.
Stephs and the people that were all lead players there too.
So let's move on to talk about more recent seasons. This last year, you just came off of really an incredible second half of the season run. Let's just call it out, culminating with the MIAA tournament. Must have been just an incredible experience to you. You went down, Trine hosted it, the semifinals and finals. You knock off Hope in the semifinal, and then the next night against Trine, you kind of lead the game.
Yeah.
It probably didn't feel great the whole time, but kind of from start to finish. Talk
Yeah.
about that weekend for you and your team, and just what that experience was like winning that whole thing.
We had pointed at the beginning of the year, we had pointed to that as something that we could get to. We felt really strongly, just because of our youth, that the development over time, and the schedule was challenging too last year in some different ways. But I really felt like, man, if we could have some health and get some things coming together. And I would say, keep in mind, we made that schedule with, thinking that we'd have Ryan
Yeah.
and Emma Whitty, and similar to Coach Sall with Jalen, and you don't have those people, and so you're like, oh, poop. We're just going to go do it anyway. And I thought our group kind of battled. I would say one of the things to me that stuck out, Matt, was that the game at Whitewater was over Christmas break. I think it was the 29th of December, and Whitewater was older, more experienced. Man, it was like a rock fight, and I loved how we hung in there. They defended a screen thing that we set up for Caitlin LaRue to try to take the lead late, and they defended it great. And I'm going to give them a ton of credit. And she was open, but Anna needed to throw it in the right spot. And she kind of threw it to them, not blaming her. It just was, but it was like, to me, I left thinking, hey, if we can get that, we're going to be just fine as the year went on. And we had a couple tough results against Hope. One right after the new year, and then one later at their place. We lost at Adrian. So I'm kind of highlighting the failures there just a little bit. But the great part about the group is they came to work, and that did not stop their resolve about the fact that they felt they could win the conference tournament. And we knew that that's what we would have to do to get in the NCAA tournament, right? We knew it. And so their preparation, their attention to detail. I mean, not only that weekend was wire to wire. I think we led the whole time, both games, and it was an incredible accomplishment. It was so much fun. I think as a coach, you want to give your players as much freedom and kind of empower them to do what they can do, like as a group and as a unit. And I felt less that I coached that weekend versus like kind of tried to savor it in some ways. Like, it was really fun. And I didn't do a lot. I mean, you're rotating subs, you're watching foul trouble. Hannah had some foul trouble on Saturday against Trine, but other than that, it was like, I'll know what to do. We'll call a couple plays here and there, and it was really kind of fun. I mean, it's like a slow pitch softball game where you make great contact and the ball goes over the fence. It was one of those weekends, and I think the challenge for our group would be to not be a flash in the pan. And I would say that we went to Oshkosh and played well, and they were really good too. I mean, I think the person that Caitlin LaRue guarded, I think Caitlin was maybe like in 8th grade when she graduated high school, or 9th grade when she graduated high school. I mean, it was like a large age group, but they were really good. Coach Fisher does a great job. They are so well coached. We were right there too.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like the weekend and then you go into the tournament and you get smushed. So yeah, it was really good. Hopefully it has propelled us here to thinking bigger things and working towards those things here this year.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, program momentum carrying over from one season to another. How much you believe in that or have experienced that, and it's just if there's a little bit of extra excitement for the start, of this kind of preseason period with the success that you had to end last season.
That's a great question, Zach. I do think that there is some as a program. We do remind our players, though, that seasons are their own thing. I mean, they're not sequels. And I think the reminder of the work and the reminder of the attention to detail and the preparation and taking care of your body. But I think as a program, from a momentum standpoint, it helps in recruiting for sure. It helps in the ability to interact with people who, oh, you beat Hope finally, or something like that. I think that carries some weight for sure. And then this is a quote that I don't know who said it, but it's kind of like once your mind gets expanded to new opportunities, it really doesn't go back to its old form. So it's like, hey, we've conquered that mountain, so to speak, a little bit. Like, and we've beaten Trine now a couple years here, and not that we've necessarily drawn even with them, but I feel like we should be kind of talked about as one of the favorites in the league. And I think that's okay to talk about that, where, 4 years ago, that wasn't the case. And so I do think there's some program momentum that can be built. And then the reminder of, each individual, hey, you got to try to find the best version of yourself and what that looks like. And then we got to put it together. So that's cool. That's the best part of coaching, for sure. It is so much fun to kind of put some of those pieces together and see how it all fits. And then knowing that something is going to go wrong, and you do have to figure out how you're going to maneuver around that too.
I think I had heard you say sometime during that journey last year with the team, something kind of clicked maybe halfway through the season. Was that stylistically? Was that schematically? Was that just you had a bunch of young players trying to figure out college basketball? What was it that you guys kind of found somewhere during the season?
Hannah Saw would be the great definition of a second semester sophomore. So I don't know. I have this theory, and it may or may not be proven. I haven't looked at it scientifically, but I think the second semester sophomore has a chance to that's where you find out how good that player is going to be. Like, if they've played a fair amount as a second semester sophomore, they should be, they should be really good. I felt that with Caitlin LaRue. I felt that with Chloe. I felt that with Hannah. I mean, we had 3 second semester sophomores who really went from being here to like a really high level. And Chloe didn't do it necessarily on the offensive end, but the defensive aspect of her game was awesome down the stretch. And we kind of tried to do a few different things, and she could pull that off without thinking too much. And so I think that maybe helps us click. And then there's always, Matt, the idea that, as we were moving through, we had a lot of moving parts, people in and out of the lineup as last year, especially in the middle part of the year. Once we got rooted and once we figured out, okay, who's actually healthy enough to play and what does this look like, we were able to kind of go from there. And, the defensive part was always pretty steady. It was trying to get the offensive piece together. And I would include Anna Fernandez in that second semester sophomore thing, because it was her second year at Galvin. And she was, I haven't been around somebody, it's been a long time since I've been around somebody that kind of willed her team in some respects offensively, the way that she did down the stretch. You could feel her presence in almost every game, and whether it was a back cut, whether it was an end of quarter 3, she made 2 of them in the opening weekend, or the conference tournament weekend. She just was really fabulous, and so that kind of helps relieve pressure when you have somebody that you can go to that wants the ball, so not afraid to take the important shots of the game, and I think that really helps it all kind of come together with some really good synergy.
Wanted to bring up the conference dynamic a little bit. You mentioned the success that the Hopes and the Trines have had. They've both been in Final Fours in the last handful of years, right? You just saw UW Oshkosh even in the tournament. They were a Final Four team. But in the conference, you get to play Trine and Hope twice. What is that like for the program, getting to see on a multiple times per season basis? What does it look like to be at kind of the highest level of Division III? You get to see it, you get to play against it, you get to compete against it. What's that like for you guys?
It's actually pretty exciting. Outside of it being a little gross, I wish we were that group that was better, and we're getting there. But I also know it has helped us get there too. It's probably helped us get there a little faster. There was a great picture, I think it was the 2012 Olympics, Chad Leclos, who was a French swimmer, maybe doing the butterfly. he is looking over at Michael Phelps as Phelps out touches him after Leclos like led the whole race. And so there's the aspect of we need to stay in our lane. We need to, look at what we are about and not worry about this people next to us. And yet when you play them, especially, those earlier years, the way that they played, how hard they played, the effort that they gave. I mean, not only were both of those teams really good, but they played harder than we did. And I think, our players got to see that, and then they kind of grew to understand what that looks like. And so that was helpful and informative. And I think as the last kind of 2.5 years have gone, that playing hard standpoint has leveled. Like we've done the same thing. And so now now it gets to schematics and a little bit of what you can execute in those games, and what you can take away. And then, it ends up being kind of a make or miss situation too. Like, can you make enough threes? Can you make enough free throws? Can you take care of the ball well enough? And so, but I do think like the window into what it looked like was very helpful. And then, unfortunately, we've scheduled in our non-league to see what it looks like too, so we get it from all phases. But I think that's good. And ultimately, we're trying to do the same thing. I mean, we're trying to advance past the first weekend in the tournament, trying to operate like a top 40 Division III team. Like that's kind of what we're doing, trying to do. And it's really helpful to have a couple rabbits in the conference that we've had to try to chase down. And we'll see how this year plays out, but maybe we've kind of, caught up to them a little bit.
So let's look ahead at this 2025-2026 season a little bit. It seems to me that whoever the crazy person was that broke into Bill Sall's office and made his non-conference schedule last year also broke into your office and gave you this slate for this season. You start the season in Wisconsin with a Friday, Saturday night with UW River Falls, and you'll get lacrosse at a neutral court game at River Falls. Then it's home for the Calvin Hope Classic, where you will host Ohio Wesleyan and Colorado College, and I believe that'll be an opponent swap with those two playing in Holland. Then you're at Wilmington and home versus Whitewater going into and then coming out of Thanksgiving. You've got a home game with University of Chicago in between a pair of December conference games, right? With the additional school there on the women's side, you have to start playing some conference games there in December, and then wrap up non-conference play at the Bowdoin Classic, a neutral court game against Tufts, and then you take on the host Bowdoin Polar Bears. There are some absolute blue bloods in the Division III women's basketball world here. Before we even get into conference play, like we've talked about with Hope and Trine, Mark, I don't know if you're talking with Timmer to find out who that person is that keeps breaking into the Spoolhoff Athletic Conference and putting together these non-conference schedules. What's going on?
Oh, guys, I know. I wish it was that easy, or to have somebody break in and do it. Yeah, it's really interesting. We it just kind of falls into place that way. And I think Coach Sall mentioned it. You end up playing 3 or 4 WIAC schools because those are the schools that will play you, and they're just close enough where you can do the home and home. I would say this: Carrie Carollo at Whitewater, and I mean we've played them every year that I've been at Calvin. It's a great game for us. I really enjoy Carrie. Her team plays so hard. They're well coached. It's a really, really good game for us. And I'm appreciative that she had continued to play us even when maybe we weren't awesome. And then, it's been good. And I know that we're, I think, 1-4, 1-5 against them, but games have generally been pretty competitive, and it's been a great game for us. University of Chicago's kind of ebbed and flowed off. We played them a couple years ago, and I do think that's a good game as well. I will concentrate on the Bowdoin piece though. So like every other year we can travel somewhere, and so we've gone to University of Texas at Dallas. 2 years ago we went to George Fox and played Pacific and George Fox in Portland. So our juniors will have the opportunity that we dipped our toe in the Pacific. I don't know that they're going to want to dip their toe in the Atlantic December 29 and 30, but they'll have the opportunity to. And then when Megan, she offered, we were originally supposed to do something else. I'll just be very transparent. And those plans fell through late. And so Megan had an opening, and we were kind of like, sure, we'll just go for it, and we needed games, and she was gracious enough to have us. I think you guys would be surprised at the amount of email that you do send out
Mhm.
that nobody responds back to. And I'm not playing the violin. I get it. Everybody has a lot of opportunities to schedule. When I was at Waynesburg, there were 60, I think, Division III schools within 3 hours. Scheduling took 5 minutes. It was
Mhm.
really easy. And, because we're landlocked, because we're probably decent, it's not always easy to schedule. We'll just say that. So, yeah. And then Megan was like, "Oh yeah, the other team will be tough." So I'm like, "Great, that sounds like a great, sounds really fun. Where's the lobster roll? We're gonna need a
Yeah.
few of those as part of the guarantee." So, and then yeah, that's just kind of how it comes together. And then you look at it when you're done, you either kind of like, "Ooh, baby, that could be a challenge," or "Yeah, I kind of like how it's
Yeah.
fallen. I don't know." So we'll see, but it is fun. It's fun to play good teams. We want to play meaningful games, right? We want to play meaningful games at the end of the year. I think playing meaningful games now helps us. I just was excited that Scott Peterson thought it was a good schedule, because anytime we can get a Hope guy to think that we do something okay over here, I think that's a bonus. So I knew that's when I knew we had a doozy of a schedule,
Yeah.
when Scott was like, "Oh baby."
I mean, my first.
But we're looking forward to it. Our group's eager. Like, one of the things, and I can be very frank in the coach speak. I mean, we played Stout last year, who was a Final Four team, and got royally smashed, and we weren't ready to play at all. And I think that kind of caliber, that kind of team, so early in the year. And honestly, if I would have asked Hannah after the game, like, "Hey, by the way, we're going to go play in the first round of the tournament," I think she would have been like, "I don't know what you're on," but and so it's a long season. We know
Yeah.
that teams aren't always what they look like they could be. And our job as a staff is to make sure that we're ready to play an opening weekend better than we probably did a year ago. And I think we're formative in that, and fully realizing that, hey, we could go play really well. I said this to Dr. Timmer. I said we could play really well in the non-league and be like 2-7, three and
Yeah.
six in our non-league. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's off the radar. I hope that we play really well and be, 7-2, 8-1, 9-0. That'd be incredible. So we'll go attack it. It'll be fun. We're looking forward to the opportunities that are present in that non-league tilt.
As first and foremost a Division III fan, my first reaction is this is just an incredibly fun schedule to see a school like Calvin play a school like Tufts, right? Those two schools don't probably
Yep.
get together that often. That's awesome. At Bowdoin, right? Bowdoin's also great
Yep.
up in Maine. The UW schools just end up making a lot of sense for Calvin to play, and the quality there is good. And so you get to see these matchups. Like, it's my first fan reaction is, oh, that's fun, and then like, oh, I'm really nervous because you could lose some of these games, right? But it's the kind of schedule that like. You as a coach and as your team, like, hey, what do we want out of the season? It's all right in front of
For
us. Do
sure.
we want to be like the number 2 seed in the country? Go 8-1 in these games, and it's all
Yep.
right in front of us.
Yep.
There's no like NPI limitation here based on your schedule. It's all good stuff. So I mean, probably what happens is you win some of the games, you lose some of the games, like any schedule. But it's all right in front of you to have a great season if that's the type of team you've been building to. So if in that sense, it's also very fun. Just like the possibilities are just absolutely endless with what could happen here. So I applaud you. You might not applaud yourself when you're halfway through this thing and you see kind of still what you have left, but it's a really fun schedule, I think.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It'll be fun, and we're looking forward to it. And I think, the opportunity to go play different teams in different places, I think is part of the student athlete
Yeah.
experience. To be honest, and to go play at Bowdoin. I mean, what a place rich in women's basketball history, and from a Division III standpoint. You have the stand games anyway, but in the River Falls venue, I've heard nothing but really good things. I think they've redone that venue. We went there actually, I think in '04 with Coach Streak. I
Okay.
think we were there. It was probably the last time I was there, but we're looking forward to it. And I know Coach Lonning at lacrosse feels good about her group. It'll just be a fun, and Hope will be there too. So we'll see Hope both weekends, those first 2 weekends. So I'm not sure that'll be fun, but it'll be nice to be able to watch them play a little bit in person. And I think that'll be helpful down the road. I'm sure they feel the same way about us, but I do feel good about our group. And I feel like, hey, if we're going to try to make some waves. If we're going to ever try to host in our conference,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know, I feel like that might be the way you have to do it from a non-league schedule standpoint, just because of how the numbers shake out.
Yeah.
So we're eager. We're looking forward to it. Um, and yeah, maybe midway through we'll wonder, but I do think it'll help us whenever whatever happens to be hopefully playing our best at the end of the year.
Right. Turning our attention to your players here for this season. Roster's not yet posted, but you've got
Yep.
a big group of returning players. Let's start with Anna Fernandez, MIAA first team a year ago. We'll kind of go down a list of some of these that we know are coming back,
Yep.
expected to be big contributors. If you could just give like a few thoughts on each player.
Sure. Yeah. Anna is, I think, nothing to do but up here. I mean, she has continued to stay in great shape. Her game, her cognitive awareness from a cutting standpoint and playing off of our post players is outstanding. She's really established herself as a viable 3 point shooter, which helps when she gets off the bounce and gets to the rim a little bit. I would say that she is certainly someone we believe could be, in the MVP conversation of our league. I'm not going to shy away from that. I don't think she would either. And the other part is she's really improved defensively, and some of her ability to read plays and run through the passing lane has been really helpful. So yeah, we're excited. Senior year, I know that she's eager to let her rip here a little bit.
Yeah. Another player who got all MIAA consideration for you last year, I think she was a second team player, was Caitlin LaRue. Talk about what she brings to the table again this year for the Knights.
Yeah, Caitlin's toughness and versatility will be great for us. I think she shot 38% from the 3 point line last year too. So, we'll need her to kind of just do her thing. And another really good two-way player. Like defensively, she's long and can get up, guard people. She's a little ornery, which is great. You need to have that too a little bit. And we're eager to see her growth and development here as her junior year commences. She's played a lot for us over the first 2 years.
And then Chloe Wiegers is back after starting 22 of 24 games that she appeared in last year for you.
Chloe is, her athleticism really wins the day. So her ability to get into the paint, her ability to kind of turn the opposing point guard in the full court defensively and jump on a hand or something like that. I mean, she's really instinctive there, and she just makes plays for us. She's really athletic. She's so much fun to coach. I mean, her personality and she just kind of is an energizer bunny in a lot of ways. I mean, she just doesn't really get down much. She just kind of is always the same. And, you kind of resonate as a coach with those people. And as a point guard, she's a little bit of an extension of me. I know last year, probably one of the things also, Matt, that clicked was when we both started calling plays and we'd call the same one. And then I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here and not say anything. That's a good synergy to have point guard.
You brought up Hannah Sall talking about the quintessential second semester sophomore last year. Now she's a first semester junior. So what is she going to bring to the table this year for you?
I would expect, again, just great consistent play. I think that was the biggest thing for her. Like when she kind of figured out how intense she needed to get out of some screen exchanges and where she could be on the floor to receive the ball, and then her confidence really just took a leap. And then for us, we were able to move her around a little bit. So what's interesting, you watch Jalen, and Jalen kind of sits as he should, because he's just such a big body in the post, and he can step out and shoot it a little bit. Hannah's best attribute maybe is her mobility, and we were able to get her in some screen things that we probably would have run for a perimeter player, but because of her mobility, we run them for her. And she, was awesome. I mean, her 15-footer is pretty pure, and I would expect her to have a great start to the year and to be a really key contributor for us all year long.
And then Gabby Hollowell, excuse me, appeared in all 29 games for you off the bench last year. One of your key bench contributors. Talk about Gabby coming into the season.
Yeah, I would expect Gabby to play probably. She was primarily a point guard for us last year. I would expect her to maybe play a little bit more off the ball, because I do think shooting is one of her best attributes. She can really make plays. Like she's one of those players who will throw a pass, and in the midst of it, you're like, no, no, yeah,
Yeah.
nice look, good job. She's courageous that way, which you need. And I do think her 3 point shooting will take a dip up when if she doesn't have to handle it quite as much and initiate everything. Um, she's put herself again in good shape. She's ready to go. We're eager to see how we can plug her in and what it looks like for her this year.
Lydia Sall also is back. I assume another option with some incredible length and shot blocking ability, which has been one of your hallmarks last year. Talk about what Lydia will bring for you.
Lydia had a great start to the year last year before she got hurt, and I would expect her to be. I mean, she has worked incredibly hard this summer on some PT things and on some rehab things, and her again too. Her confidence is at a pretty high level. They kind of knows she can play and knows she can be an impactful player for us, and so we will definitely look forward to having the Sauls playing together again. We kind of missed that down the stretch. That some of that twin to twin synchronicity
Yeah.
it was missing. Again, it kind of throw past you. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you guys are on the same wavelength. I see that. It's fun to see them play together, and so I know Lydia's chomping at the bit to play.
Well, I wanted to follow up just asking you about that dynamic of coaching, not only sisters, but two who are part of a triplet pair with
Yeah.
brother Quentin. And oh, by the way, dad is the men's basketball coach at the same school.
Bill and Karen have been awesome. And one of the fun things is, so Gabby Timmer was,
Yeah.
on the team when I
Yeah.
first got hired. So I have not had a year that I haven't had the AD's daughter or the men's basketball coach's daughters coaching. So, and I still don't have any gray hair. So I think that should be something. Um, but it's been fun. And Hannah and Lydia really have, I mean, not only just watch them just kind of grow up a little bit. Like it's been really cool. I enjoy their demeanor. I really enjoy being around them. It is interesting because I walk by the office, and if Dad's talking to him, I don't stop and say anything to him. But they have that dynamic. I know it's pretty special for Bill and Karen too to be able to watch their daughters play. And they've played a lot and they've been good for us. I wasn't quite sure what they would look like coming out of high school, but they've worked at it. And that's been the thing that I've probably been most impressed about. I mean, they're in the gym, they're working on their game. They don't take anything for granted that way. And yeah, it's been fun. I'm looking forward to another couple of years of coaching them.
Another impact returner, I think, is Jamie Custer. She played in 27 games last year, knocked down some 3-pointers for you. Talk a little bit about Jamie.
Jamie is maybe one of our best athletes. I mean, she is really strong, kind of lower half. I mean, her ability to guard, her ability to get on the glass a little bit. She's a pretty versatile player for us, and I would expect again that kind of. So we're thinking about hopefully a first
Yeah.
semester sophomore would be great from Jamie. But she's looked good so far in practice. I know that she's put some work in her. I think her versatility. I mean, she might be our outside of a post player. She's probably our next one who could sit in there a little bit. So we might throw her in on a matchup or two, and we get she can get a smaller person on her and put her in there. Ryan sometimes likes to throw that pass if she's playing on the perimeter or somebody like that. So we could invert it a little bit. But she's a really good athlete, and I think gives us some really good juice.
And then two more names to bring up who are coming back from injury. Ryan Rohrer missed all of last season, and then Sammy DeKuyper was injured in that opener and missed the rest of the season. How are they recovering and, outlook for this season?
Yeah, both of them look great. I mean, Ryan's recovery was a little longer than Sammy's, but she's worked at it. I think today was. I told my assistants it was really good to have Ryan glare at me after I made a foul call on her today at practice. I kind of missed that all last year. So, but she adds another dimension to our post group from an intelligence standpoint. She is one of the more cerebral players I've ever coached on men or women. I mean, she sees the floor and she sees the game in a way that I did not know that she had when we recruited her. And her ability, she's got a soft touch around the rim, 15 foot. Yeah, she's gonna be good. And there'll be some time to rust off probably a little bit, but I think she won't have the pressure of having to be the performer that she was at the end of her sophomore year for us. And same with Sammy. I think Sammy's worked really hard to put herself in a position to be back on time. I mean, because as you said, Matt, her injury was in the first game of the year last year against Stout, and so we're under a calendar year, and she's put herself into shape to be in the mix too. And so her intelligence, her savvy, her toughness. I mean, coming from Rockford, those folks are generally really well coached. They're tough. They're tough kids, and Sammy's been awesome to coach. And it's our prayer and hope that she has just a great senior year.
Yeah. So in addition to those two, any other returning faces we should know about, or brand new faces to the Calvin program that you think have a good chance to make an impact this year?
Sure, I'll throw two at you. Emma Whitty's back for another year, and this will be Emma's fifth year. So she is also coming back from an injury. She may have been a chance to be an all-league player 2 years ago too, except in her timing of her injury. She's a really good, again, athlete. She's someone who can find you a basket when the things get a little hairy on the floor and the shot clock maybe is winding down. She has enough wiggle to make something happen. And similar to Sammy, you're just like, let's just have a great senior year and be healthy. She really wanted to play. And I'm really grateful that she's put the work in to get herself back on the court. And then our incoming freshman probably to watch is Izzy Watlinski. Izzy's a freshman from Lake Orion High School. She's a kind of a long wing player. She's got a really good stroke. Yeah, she's kind of in a spot where we have a lot of people there, but I'm optimistic that she'll get in the mix there a little bit too. And she's been what we thought she could be, a really steady offensive presence, and just a wonderful person, to coach so far. So yeah, we're eager for the kind of the daily grind. We're eager for the scrimmages to come, and keep learning about our group, and it'll be a pretty fun group, I think, to watch coalesce as the year goes on.
Well, to me, one of the hallmarks of those really great Hope teams that we saw make Final Four runs and whatever was that they would just throw 2 or 3 lines at you of players, and they were all fantastic, right?
Yeah.
I kind of just look at the names we just reeled off for your team, and that's a bunch of now experienced players who have all shown skill and talent level at the Division III level. I think it feels to me like that's the kind of program that you could be kind of rolling with now this year. Is you've got that first line and the bench comes back out, and there's not a step down at all in talent. I don't know if you're feeling that as well. I'm assuming the answer is yes, but I think this is could be a really special group here.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Matt. You liken it to maybe almost like a cross country team, right? I mean, where you want your 7 to be really tight, and yep, you have your best 3 runners, absolutely, but then you want your next 4 to be as tight as can be, and I think we have that. I do, and I said last year that our superpower was our connective tissue, and I would say the same thing about this group. I mean, there's going to have to be a little bit of sacrifice for the greater good, and I think we have the players to do that. And if people can do that, and if they can work while they wait, and if they feel that they can impact our team in different ways maybe than they thought initially, or whatever the case may be, and they allow us to coach them, it'll be a really, really fun year. And I think our group generally has gotten along well, and so each year you kind of have to reestablish how that's going to go, but already we've had some pretty good return there too, and we've pushed some people to be a little more vocal. We have some juniors who didn't have to do a ton vocally as sophomores and freshmen because they had other people to do it for them, and now they have to kind of step up and take that role on just a little bit. And the reality is, I mean, we have to be ready to go right away. We're not easing into the year, so to speak, with teams that aren't very good. And so, River Falls is good, and it's going to be a tough game, and we have to be, ready to go. Because once there's a lot of prep, and then once it happens quickly, right? And soon you can doubt if you don't get off to a great start, and you can go down a litany of things, and you're like, man, we're not going to go there. Let's just kind of stay present, and but make sure that we're ready to go. And to do that, we have to do these things. So it is. It could be a really fun group. I'm looking forward to kind of getting our teeth into them a little bit more, and being able to see what what happens, and who thrives in some of that environment, because it is a competitive environment. I'm a huge Mike Tomlin guy. It's probably from my time in Western PA. I really like him, and I think some of the things that he talks about in terms of just the competitive collective, we've tried to take and apply a little bit. You want really good people, and we always start with that in the recruiting process, and then people who want to be a Calvin and who are willing to throw their hat in the ring and see what happens. And yeah, I was watching those hope and trying teams. I mean, in terms of how many people you
Yeah.
need a lot of people to
Yeah.
be good. And I think one of the fallacies is like, oh, basketball, you only need like a
Yeah.
handful of people. And yeah, sure. I mean, if you're playing professionally, but no, like you need depth, you
Yeah.
need people, and you need people ready when the next
Yeah.
person gets hurt or whatever to step in and play well.
And you got to
And
push
so
each other
that's
in
where the
practice and everything like
yeah,
that
for
too.
that's where the heart comes in, right? And yes, can you do that over 85, 87 practices
Yeah.
and get yourself better? So that's really the nuts and bolts of it, guys. I mean, it is the best part of the job. It is the job, is to develop and grow teams, and I do think we have a team here of people that can help us win.
We're always excited to start talking basketball ahead of a new season. Extra excited to be talking Calvin basketball. So we're really grateful you took the time to join us here. As we let you go, less than 4 weeks now before your opener. Any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Well, I would just say thanks to both of you guys, and I know we have a little D3 basketball community that talk a lot about our sport and that kind of share it to a broader audience, keep it in some algorithms and some timelines and some people, which are good. I am deeply appreciative of that. Certainly, I'm biased because of the Calvin connection to you guys, but thank you for the work that you all do on kind of our behalf in terms of talking about the depth and the balance of Division 3, and also making NPI, for dummies a thing, which is good. We are excited about our team. I don't think we've had a lot of double headers with the men, but we are looking forward to hopefully having some good crowds at Benord. We play some good teams, so I just would encourage folks to come check us out. And we'll be right there alongside the men's team, watching and cheering them on too. It's great to have that collaboration. I get along so well with Bill in a lot of ways, not only coaching his daughters, but just generally. You talk to your colleagues at other places, it's not always like that. And I do not take that for granted. And I'm deeply appreciative to him, for that relationship. It's really fun. It's certainly life giving for me, and it's fun to watch them do their work too. So I appreciate what you guys do. We bleed the maroon and gold, and we're looking forward to the year.
Well, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you and your team on the court this year as we cheer on the Knights.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks to Coach Christner for joining us for a chat. Awesome to have him in. Awesome to have both basketball coaches at Calvin in 1 week here. Thanks to him. Thanks to Bill. Thanks to everyone who supports us on Patreon at patreon.com/D3 Datacast. These people help us do what we do, Matt. They help keep the website with all the efficiency ratings, the NPI tracking, everything we do there. It's all ad free, paywall free, and we get out to some games. These people help defray those costs. Super thankful to have everyone who joins us on Patreon.
Yeah, if you'd like to join in as well, you can visit patreon.com/D3Datacast. We have a $3 a month tier and a $5 a month tier that you can join if you want to support us in creating these episodes and creating that content on D3Datacast.com. So thank you so much to the people on the screen, the people who have supported with us these 4 seasons now. This is our 4th season of D3 Datacast, and we really enjoy it. So again, thanks so much to Mark Christner for telling us about his team. Thanks to our Patreon supporters, Zach. But for now, we're going to have to say, good job, team.